search, you get your matches. So if Jeremy's the client file you want, you just hit select. And that puts us on Jerry and Ann's client file. This little box you saw pop up here is a tag.
Mm-hmm.
That's just an internal communication tool. Everybody who logs in here needs to be reminded Jerry doesn't hear very well. Even when I dismiss that, you still see your tags up here. Now, when I'm looking at a policy, say I look at this auto policy, when I click on it, let's start at the beginning. This is called the policy bar, and this is called the details. So client details, policies, this is a snapshot of all the policies we have written, term, effective, expiration date, current rate. This is going to be populated from those downloads, which I assume you're getting downloads?
Yeah.
From how many carriers? Who are your top 5 carriers?
Auto Owners, Pioneer State Mutual, Progressive, Acuity, Foremost, everybody we have, you guys do. You
Okay.
download better than
Okay.
than what Varuna does.
Okay, so we're populating the premium here. That's populated from your download, or if you manually enter a policy that doesn't download, we're calculating your client annualized premium here. So that's, again, just some client details. Contacts is how are you contacting these people? You still using RingCentral?
No, we use Vonage right now.
Yeah, Vonage, right?
Because it has a nice integration with Salesforce.
Okay, and does it have an application, a call out application? Like they're using the TEL or the call out protocol? I think this works for Varuna, but that's to be determined. If you just wanted to dial this phone, you just hit call now, and Hucksoft calls out to the phone application to dial the phone there for you.
Yep.
And then here's all your activities. Every time you do something in Hucksoft, that permanent time and date stamped, uneditable activities created for you. You've got personal under the client. We're still looking at personal details. Everybody in the account, any claims that they have, whether they're downloaded by the carriers or manually entered. And then you've got policy detail. So when I click on that auto policy, watch what happens to this middle section right here. That's just going to take me to my auto policy. GPI means general policy information, company, agent, policy number. You tracking source of business? Your metrics there?
Not as good as we should have.
Okay. You can make source a required field if you want to, but it is a field in Hucksoft. There you can capture your policy term, your status here, current rate, line of business, that's personal auto. Billing information that you've put in, and then this right here, that most recent policy download's actually a button. So if you if you were servicing, if Jerry called in to you now, how many clicks or how would you tell him what his comp deductible is because he just hit a deer? How would you get that? You still with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thought I lost you there for a minute.
Yeah. No, I know you're known for, what is it, the 3 or 4 click rule or whatever. So
click on the Ford, there it is. Vehicle information, coverage information. So 1 or 2. I like the 1 or 2 mouse clicks because we can talk about the RAM, the home. We can jump all over the place here, just quickly and easily navigate. Your attachments, this is your document management area, which I would encourage you to consider bringing everything into bringing everything in the program so it's easily accessible. Now, I'm not the workflow police. I'm not going to make you change the way you're doing things.
Right.
But again, notice this policy snapshots here. I'm just going to expand on that because every time a download, I want the auto policy. I got more in there. Hold on just a second. We're going back to the auto policy. Every time a download comes in, or if I manually update a policy in Hucksoft, this Hucksoft creates that chronological premium history here for me at a glance. And then if the policy actually downloads, we're going to automatically calculate premium change and percentage change for you as well between each one of these line items. Now I'm in demo software, so guess what? I don't get downloads. Okay.
Sure.
So where I got a lot of white space, you're going to have numbers. And we also, when this is all being created, we also create for you what we call a snapshot view. It's just more of a deck page view, but it's everything that is related to rating that policy, either from your download or manually entered. Now there's a lot of buttons up here, but the really cool one is this compare to previous. And you said you wrote with Progressive. So have you ever had a customer? I know everybody says that. So have you ever had a customer call Progressive Direct, like last Saturday they sold a car. So they just called Progressive and deleted the car. And then Monday or Tuesday you get an endorsement. You don't know why, because you didn't do anything. Open up your snapshot view, hit compare to previous, and Hucksoft's going to tell you what difference. Rate went down because they deleted a vehicle. Okay. So you're going to start amassing history. You're going to be able to go back. The longer you have Hucksoft, the further back you can go with your comparisons, not only in that scenario, but also when the downloads come into Hucksoft, you can create some automated tasks or suspenses tickets, whatever we want to call those,
Right.
for your staff there as well. But what I'm kind of getting at here is in Hawksoft, you're going to be able to create correspondence templates, and that's going to be able to do form letters, emails, proposals. Are you texting in and out of Vonage or any other medium?
Yeah. Yes, both out of Salesforce and Vonage.
Okay. We have just to check the box, you can enable texting in Hawksoft if you wanted to text in and out of Hawksoft, but you can continue to do it in Vonage or however you choose to do so there as well.
So you guys have that functionality, and then you have obviously like partners in your marketplace that you work with. So this texting, tell me how this works. Is this
is in and out of Hawksoft exclusively. So it's documented, encrypted, permanently documented there as well. When you enable texting in Hawksoft, you have two choices. Take the phone number, use the phone number that Hawksoft can assign to you in your area code as your texting number, or you can have us port a specific number that you want us to use for texting, as long as you're not using that number somewhere else to text. Like if you're texting in and out of Vonage, you can't use the same phone number to text in and out of Hawksoft.
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's show you what that looks like here. So we're gonna do a little work here. Okay. Hawksoft is menu driven and self-documenting. So what happens here, and you get this request occasionally for an ID card, right? People lose them all the time. Now, mine's going to pull up Ohio. Yours would pull up that Michigan, that special Michigan one you guys have to use. Okay. So I need an ID card. Well, look what pops up, the vehicles. So I tell Hawksoft which ones I need. And then I tell Hawksoft how I'm going to distribute them. Email them, text them, print them. I'm going to email and text, and we're going to hit OK. That brings up the email addresses we have on Jerry's client file. He's going to tell us which one to use, or maybe give us a new one or two to put in here. Then we're going to see our email templates. No template is going to open up Outlook and you can just start free typing your message. Choosing one of your templates like Transmit ID card is going to open up Outlook and fill everything in here for you. Okay. Now, if you want to add to this template, personalize it a little bit, you certainly can. Hope you have a great vacation there, Jerry. You can also brand documents as appropriate going out of your agency. I'm just going to double click and open that ID card up here. And just so you can see, you can put your logo into Hawksoft so you can start branding things that are going out of your agency. Like I said, this is the Ohio one. You guys in Michigan have a whole different set of rules up there. And I know you went through a lot of legislative changes the last couple of years. So if you're done with your message here, you're done with that email, just hit send. Hawksoft sends it on out the door there for you. I also told Hawksoft I wanted to text that ID card. And we do have that federally required opting in process built into the program. So to text consumer or business to consumer, that's covered in here as well. This guy's already opted in. We're going to send that text message. I've already got an ID card text messaging template already set up here. So really, from me to them, this is what I'm sending them, and of course it's attached to the ID card. We always bring you back to a menu just in case you need to do something else. If you don't, that's fine. Hit finish, and Hawksoft's going to create the activity note for you. Notice it's already time and date stamped, who did the work and what I did. We've embedded the entire email message and the entire text message right into our dialog box here. We probably want to add to this, like who I talked to from Ann. But I want you to see here is the ID card and the time and date stamp sent email already attached here to document my client file. I don't have to put it in SharePoint or anything like that. Does that make sense at all?
Right.
Okay, because now when we double click and open on that, I'm just going to open it up. I can open up that email. It's right here. Time and date stamped sent to 8 at 2:15 p.m. And the ID card's attached there. And if they say, oh, I didn't get it, you can just highlight it and forward it or whatever you want to do there. Print it if you want to. Totally okay. So see where we kind of encourage you to keep everything in one spot in your document management area. Same thing if you did a letter. It's going to automatically attach to Hawksoft. Same thing if you got an incoming email. For example, somebody sends you an email, right? Which you probably get quite a few of those, right?
Yeah.
Probably get quite a few of those. And you want to attach them into Hawksoft. You might get emails with attachments on them, photos or pictures or something. You can just drag and drop the attachment in, more than one at a time if you want to, or you can just drag and drop the email in here and attach it that way. Does that make sense? And the description's coming from the subject line of the email, so if you want to change it, that's fine. Needs something. Whatever you want to put there, okay, is fine. And then you can create your activity about this email. Okay, following so far?
Yeah.
That I got an email, it was from the insured, and we're just going to do a log. They need to know their next payment. You might never get these questions, but I'm just making stuff up as I go too. Sure. Okay, so I've obviously got to call I've got to call the carrier. I got to figure out how much they owe. So I may create a task on this, a suspense, for me to follow up on tomorrow or something if I don't have time to do it today. I'll give it a priority and I'll give it a category like payment or something. This list of categories is totally customized by you. We start you off with a list of suggestions, but you make it make sense to you, okay? You got to be able to do that. And then we're just going to hit OK. So now this is an open task, right? It's got a clock next to it and it's bright red. So when I get the information on that, what I need to report back to my customer, I just open up this log note. I've already got that email sitting in here, and all I have to do is hit reply. Do my response, hit send, finish, and Hucksoft attaches the time and date stamp sent email here. Is that something you guys would utilize, or am I just giving you too much here?
That's sort of the concept. Your suspense task and categories. That's sort of what Neon Cases are about.
Okay, looks like. Okay, so now on your start page, when you remember we were on the start page before we hit that search box, on your start page, there's information here. One is your agency announcements, and this is your area of the program. You can use it, not use it, put pictures in there. Have fun with it, okay? But you're going to see that to-do list. One of those being those suspenses, or what did you call them? Tasks? No, what did you call them?
We call them cases.
Cases.
Yeah.
Okay, so cases. So we're going to see I've got
open
12
cases.
12 open. Okay, 12 open cases would be the suspense. So those are going to come back to me from me, setting a reminder for myself. They could come to me being assigned to me by a coworker. They can also come to me from a download, because when those downloads come in, you've got your download configuration here, and you can set up personal and rules for commercial. So you can set it up differently. For example, cancellations, I've got Hucksoft to update the policy. That's kind of a no-brainer, right? Let Hucksoft do the work. But in my office, I also have Hucksoft creating an automatic case for me or somebody else there in the agency when a cancellation comes in. If you don't want to, don't worry about it. Don't put a check mark there. Agents really like this one as well. It's the percentage uprate alert that just says, okay, Hucksoft, if a download comes in and it's a renewal or a renewal quote like you get from Progressive, and it's 13%, put any number in here you want, 13% greater than the last download that came in, somebody needs to know about that, like now, okay? Because you're getting those downloads, a day or two before your customer gets them in the mail. So if you can catch them before they call you and let them know. I use the example, hey, remember those 3 speeding tickets you got last year? Well, guess what? We've got to find you a new carrier, because your rate just went up a bunch. And then also, some carriers download eDucts messages and claims, some don't. Okay?
Right.
So that's just carrier specific. Does that make sense there for you?
Yep.
To do that. Now, to look at, also we don't want to forget, we have our Outlook calendar events. We're just going in the background, pulling those Outlook, anything on your Outlook calendar and posting it here for you. So this is me for the next couple of days. Okay. You've also got to, now you got to look at those cases. So we're just going to click on that suspense button there. And that gives me a full list. Now remember, I don't know if I mentioned it, so if I'm telling you twice, just forgive me, okay? When you log this in, this is your cases or your suspenses. When I log in, they're mine. Okay, so to look at that list, you're going to see the priority that you assigned to those, the category that you assigned, like the category is the what we're supposed to do, the name is who we're going to do it for, and the why we're doing it is in the activity note down here at the bottom. Okay, so missing information for Alexander, he's a prospect I'm working with, and he needs to still get me some information so I can even start his quote, because I don't even have enough yet so I can even quote him very good yet. I got to do a callback, go take some photos. Does that make sense? Is that kind of what you're used to your cases in?
This is, I'd love you to even show me a screenshot or two of the 6, because that's what you're showing right there is the concept behind Salesforce cases.
Okay.
And a case is essentially a request of the agency. So if your bank called us and said, hey, we are supposed to have got an invoice for Linda's homeowner, she escrows her homeowner's payment, we didn't get one, we would set up a case. So we would send, we'd log into the company, we'd email your bank and CC you on it, and that would be a case. So then you would call that a category, or I guess we would set up a task. And then, so here's the right nomenclature. What you would call a task is what Neon calls a case type.
Probably.
And then what you call a category is what Neon calls a case subtype.
Oh.
So there are claim types, and then there are claims subtypes. So new claim, existing claim, and then there are service. Let's call them in your world tasks, and then there are categories like certificate, policy change, payment, whatever that might be. So yeah, and then Salesforce has like schedule appointment. Those would be events. Those are just Salesforce tasks. But yeah, remarket a renewal, process an endorsement. The Salesforce has what are called tasks, and so shift gears for me now to put your salesperson hat on, Linda. You use this system. The other part of Neon here's what I'll tell you. I pay separately for Neon. Actually, I don't pay separately for Neon. I have to buy a separate license from Salesforce, separate from Veruna. Veruna is the agency management system. And then I do some things that I like about my agency a little bit better, sort of like what you're talking about here. Veruna does this. They use tasks. But what Veruna doesn't do particularly well is just the Salesforce CRM part. Can you talk to me a little bit about, so I'm your...
They don't use the Salesforce. Okay, yeah, tell me, give me a scenario there.
So, well, don't get me wrong. They have suspects and prospects, but they don't do leads and opportunities the way that they don't have that kind of a license. So Veruna is an OEM. They have an OEM license. So they take the platform that Salesforce gives them, just like if General Motors gave you a frame of a Silverado and said, here, if you want to make an Anderson pickup truck, here's our frame. Gotcha. It's not going to be a General Motors, but if you want to make an OEM General Motors like Anderson pickup truck, you could use our frame. And so it's going to look like a Chevy and it's going to drive like a Chevy, but it's an Anderson Chevy. We know that it wasn't made at a General Motors plant, right?
Sure.
So my question to you is, tell me about how your Hawksoft agents, what's your sales CRM process, your pipeline management? What do you use to track leads and opportunities, that kind of thing?
Our sales pipeline, basically. So I'll show you a report here real quick, and then I'll go back and show you how to set up a client file in it. I think that usually makes more sense. Sales and retention is a one-click. This is our reporting suite area here. Sales and retention is a one-click, but this is where you're going to see your sales pipeline. The 4 categories you get from Hawksoft are lead, prospect, refused, and rejected. Okay, those are the 4 categories you get from us. A lead, to me, this is just Linda talking, is somebody that I don't know anything about. Like,
when you say we get from Hawksoft, is there some customization?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, these are the 4 categories you get from us. How you customize those is up to you. Okay. Because under lead, you can create as many substatus reportable categories as you choose, like gotcha. Qualified or unqualified. My neighbor told me to call so-and-so. I don't even know these people, okay? But I'm going to put them in here and I'm going to say they're unqualified. I'm going to talk to them. Or maybe I do know that they've got a house, a car, and they probably need insurance. So they're qualified, but I don't really know much about them. These are just examples, okay, that I've gotten from other agencies. I've got one agency who gets a lot of leads from a mortgage broker. Well, they're obviously not really qualified because you don't know if they need insurance or not. So as I move them through my sales process, once I start working more with them, I change them to prospect. Now under prospect, I've got a lot more sub statuses, like I'm waiting on the client, or I'm waiting on the company, or I've got a quote out pending. These are examples I received from other agents that use this. And so you can create any that you want, okay? Because just remember, as they're in your pipeline area, it's a manual entry. There's not a download that's going to update this. So sure. You might not make the list real long just so your staff will do it. But again, they're just click the button and you're there. Or you need more risk info because you can't even, or the quote was delivered. Because as you're looking at, think of the dark blue area here as the big picture. And when we go to the right, it's looking at the details. So I can maybe look at that by agent. What agents. Danielle's got 22 leads she's working with. When I click on prospects, it shows me the prospects she's working with, okay? And all dates, I can look at that's by none. Status date, that's when effective date of the policy. We're going to be putting some information in there. Okay. Compare client count with premium volume. So if they have got some quoted premium in Hawksoft that they've put in here, then you can see the potential of, I've got the potential of writing almost 92,000 in premium if all of these close.
That's what's in my pipeline. Okay.
Yeah, that's my pipeline. Now, when we click on clients, that gives us our client number, not premium. But so we got to do this drop down here to resort it, recalculate that. Okay. Is all that making sense? Okay.
Yeah. So how do I find, where would I see, like, so those people that I'm seeing, those names, those are our agents. Where do I see one of their lead names, like Anderson Manufacturing or something?
Yeah. If you look at Danielle, you just double click on Danielle there, and that gives you the list of her prospects.
So then how would Danielle move that prospect from stage to stage?
She would go into her client file, into the client file that's in Hawksoft, like Jeremy's client file here, and she would be working in that client file. She'd be on the correct, and it would say prospect, like this home says prospect here. See that there? She would come in here, she'd go action, internal, change client policy, and she would click on general policy information, and this is your status. Okay, that's your status. Right now, that status is in quote pending. But now I could change this to waiting on client. I've given them the quote, and now I'm waiting to hear back from them. Okay. So you could do that here. Now, when she actually sells them, then you can change them to active.
Gotcha.
Okay? So it's in a single drop-down box here. If they leave, and you've got sub-statuses for all sorts of different things. I did it, do not rewrite under any circumstances. They moved out of state, underwriting reasons. These are just examples of the way you can customize these lists. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Neon will like this. And Download does this? I mean, Download would make something new or renewal.
Oh, yeah, once you sell it. But during this process, there will be no downloads. During this process, you'll have downloads. Yeah, exactly. Does that make sense? I'm going to change her status to waiting on client. So we're going to hit OK.
What
and then when you hit, oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, this is a longer conversation about 6.
Okay, so when you, I'm not going to do that. So when you hit finish, do you see how we've changed the screen, and we're going to say talk to deliver, something like delivered, quote, waiting to hear. Remember, we changed it to a little bit there, and then we could create a suspense, or we could create our follow-up. If I don't hear from them by by Monday, I'm going to call them again. Okay. And I'm going to put, again, you can add to this list. So I don't know if I've got one that's, I'm going to put urgent on that one. I want to sell this policy. So now I've got it. There's a task there as well. So what were you going to ask about 6? Did that answer your question?
Yep. But you just brought up a different one. So do you have clients, or maybe even just already out of the box, I don't know, suspense, let's just call it the suspense, that can be automated? What I mean is...
No. Only from the downloads can we create those automated tasks at this point in time. If you want to do automated tasks, you need Agency Zoom or somebody else, one of our partner vendors.
Like, give me an example of what you think that I mean.
That you want to automatically prompt them to get the information back to us. Or you want to automatically send everybody a text message on their birthday or something like that.
No, not necessarily, but like, for example, let's just say we make a policy change, and I want to have them, I don't want to give them the choice of checking to see that the change was finished. I want them to, like, what I'm seeing right now is they would have to manually set a reminder to remind themselves that the policy download, that the endorsement actually got done, and that it was correct. And so I'm asking, is there a way that we can say, when you process this type of action, we will automatically trigger these 3 things to happen. We will, behind the scenes, we'll remind you in 4 days, your CSR will put a suspense on her calendar or his calendar in 3 days. And then 6 days from now, we'll remind them, did you go make sure that the change was correct? And we will make them have to check a box. I just don't want, I don't want people to miss things.
Yeah.
Let's
back up just a second. And how are you doing endorsements now? You go directly to, say, auto owners to do an endorsement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you go to auto owners from Veruna? Do you launch from Veruna to auto owners?
Yes, or just right to the browser.
Okay.
Either way, we have a password manager, so there's half a dozen different ways we can get to the website.
Okay. We recommend that if you need to go to Progressive or auto owners, you go directly from Hawksoft to the carriers, because that engages your part of your HawkLink tool. So when we click website
Yeah,
here,
can you demonstrate what that hawk link means?
Yep, working on it here. Notice how that launched. Now this is going to be very generic, but I'm going to backtrack here just a second. Okay, we're going to do it again. So when
what I just saw.
Yeah, that's because it goes so fast. Yeah.
So
Okay, so if I need to go, I'm in an auto. I need to go to Progressive. Okay, so I click website up here, and what's going to happen in the background, Hawksoft starts the activity note for me, launches that carrier website, and pre-fills the username and passwords I've got stored in Hawksoft. Okay. And then I can sign in and navigate around just like I do now. I would be on Auto Owners or Progressive or wherever. And I've got HawkLink pre-filling the policy number and their name. And then I just click search. From here, I could do a payment or I could do an endorsement. It doesn't really matter what I'm doing, right? I'm just got to do, I have to do something. Right. So when you get done with that something, you can we agree that you'll get either some sort of confirmation, a receipt or an endorsement confirmation. And we need to capture that confirmation back to Hawksoft. So your HawkLink tool has some buttons here, a camera and a printer. The camera captures a screenshot. The printer captures bigger than a screenshot or multiple pages. Or you can print off your local printer. Okay. I'm just going to hit the camera button for now. And that just brings that document right back into the program and attaches it to the auto policy because that's where we launched from. Now, if we launched from the wrong place, we could move it, okay? But we don't want to. We're going to leave it on the auto policy. Then we're going to hit next, and that gives us, we're going to give it a description, whatever that might be, traded cars or a receipt or whatever it is, okay? And give it a category because this is part of our document management that we're going to store in Hawksoft here. And then we're going to click attach. We get a couple of cues here. Now, we're done with the carrier, right? We've done what we needed to do on the company side. So I minimized it, and I told you earlier that Hawksoft starts the activity note for me. So we always bring you that menu. Do we need to do something? We've already gone online and we've captured the confirmation, but maybe my customer said, "Oh, send me a quick email and let me know that you did what I needed you to do." So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm just going to use no template for now and just say new rate for the Audi is $2,000 a year. 200 would be nice. Here, okay, and you'll do a much more detailed email than I just did there. I know you will. And so we sent our customer the email like he asked us to, and then when I hit finish, Hawksoft creates the activity note for me. Now we're going to say I was doing an endorsement, right? And you want to make sure we're going to follow up on that endorsement. We can put a check mark right here and say, okay, I'm going to make sure that download. Usually you're getting downloads in the next day or two. Usually. Okay. So you could say, I'm going to check this on the 10th and I want it to come back to me or somebody else because I could assign this task to somebody else there. We'll also give it a priority and we'll also give it a category. And I might call this, I don't think I got endorsement in here. We're going to do a change request on this one. This is also because right now, Hawksoft is not current, right? We just made an endorsement on Progressive. We added another car for traded cars or something. So really Hawksoft isn't accurate. Does that make sense? Because tomorrow the download comes in and it's going to be. This may be one of those times when you also want to create a tag for your staff that says we got an endorsement pending. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So now when I click OK, watch what happens to the screen here. We get a tag that says we got an endorsement pending and our activity is documented and the clock and the red means it's suspended and it's going to come back to me on the 10th. Okay. Now, I have to say none of that was automatic. I had to click the buttons. Does that make sense?
It does. You had in that last screen, you had a checkbox that you didn't check that said something like force the agent to clear the something or other in that last box. That's what I mean by a very simple.
You mean this one?
Nope. On your the screen before your tag when you were actually setting this up.